I did that today. Good morning.
Morning.
So here we are again, and we've come to talk to you about that we are on, believe it or not, we're here to announce to you that we are on our course 6, which is our last course of the year. So many of you will know we run 6 courses a year, but that might have not been how it appeared this year.
No, because we did a bit more than that this year.
We're just a continual, so and I see that there's been a reflection in terms of like people knowing when we're starting and stopping. But on Monday we begin our last course of the year. It is our course 6.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
So what we'd like to focus on for our last course of the year is our intention, space and willingness, and how much space do you create in your world for you. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about
inside and outside.
Yeah, so intention. So we'd like you to think about your intentions and what is it that, you know, in terms of we are coming on completing this year. And I always find it interesting, you know, people sort of have some resistance to the word willpower. So when you say sort of like, just use your willpower and have you got some discipline, and people sometimes often even switch off with the word discipline.
I do. It doesn't work for me.
So, and I heard a really lovely expression a while back, and to transform terms of willpower into willingness. What is your willingness for you to create space in your life? And then what is it? What's your intention for that? So really encouraging you, you know, when you come into, you know, what we do here is you find a space in your life to come and do classes, whether that is
magical space.
Whether that's to come into class, whether that's, you know, whether at home. If you're online, it's then what do you do further to create that space? So when you come in, you know, we now have these, you have your space that we would have always had, but when you lay your mat, it's like it's getting into that zone. So you're creating space in your mind, in yourself, your immediate surroundings. When you lay your mat on the floor, when you set your space out at home, it's like creating space and time. And it's then the willingness to then be. So this is a whole focus of what you're going to use.
Well, it comes from that, doesn't it? It comes from having of creating enough space for oneself. I mean, how much space in your world, in time, in space, in time for you to do things, time for you to think, space in your head, and then how does that then transfer to what you decide to do if you're gonna you've made space, you've made time, then in your home, what do you do to set that space for yourself and have the willingness to get involved, join in, and give yourself the gift of what you've set that intention for?
It's really powerful when you just shift up, even if it only needs to be those few moments, doesn't it, before a class particularly as well, just clearing that, you know, it's like really setting out your space, internally, externally.
I mean, I think we're always keen to make sure that when you step into a space, whether it's in the studio or whether you're doing something in your own home, that you've had a moment or two to literally think about the space that you're using, what you do with that space to make sure that it's safe and comfortable, and the space in the day that you've set for yourself, and the space therefore that you've allowed in your mind to give yourself, right, I need to do that for me so that I can find that space inside of myself.
Yeah, and then what we were talking about in terms of the whole focus is that in all the confusion and the craziness in the world today, and with a lot of stress that's going on, is that it can be very, well, not just difficult, your brain just can't think in more divergent ways if you're in a fight or flight stress response. So once you then create a space, the practice here and the willingness and the intention is when you then relax and drop into your body, which is what we're doing here to come into a place of embodiment, is that then only then, when your body's then gone into rest and restore, can your mind think in more divergent ways? Can you actually then be more expansive in your thoughts? And then your focus on dreams and imagination, which is actually your focus of your dance this time.
It is.
Which is dreams and imagination.
Yeah, dreams is it's going to be updated, so it's current dreams. It's about you coming in and finding that space, that intention for yourself, settling your nervous system, being able to have imagination, listen to lovely music, work within your body, enjoy the creativity of finding within yourself the dreams, the stillness. It's about casting into other places than where you currently are. You might, all of us probably can think of things that we would be doing if it wasn't for all of what's going on around us. So part of dreaming and being in a relaxed, emotional, physical state to be able to act and look at what is a possibility. What did you say? Look at what if instead of what is.
Yeah, so
I
transforming
really like that.
from what is to what if.
Yeah.
Which is actually, I have to credit that actually is the name of a book. I apologise, can't remember the name of an author. It's a wonderful book, Transforming from What Is to What If.
Yeah.
And it's about, and being able to think what if only happens when you go into rest and restore.
Yeah.
So creating space and willingness, which then takes that on to, my focus of what the dance I was going to do as well. Very similar theme. I'm going to bring back all of those embodied sensations we were working with last year, and we set out at the beginning of this year. But if you remember them, so we have the first one, which is a sense of expansiveness, peripheral vision, which again, as soon as you start working with peripheral vision and there's what you space around you, it is working with space, relaxing into your nervous system. The second one, well, people remember that first one, that expansive one. I always remember Margaret's was the best one. She said when she went scuba diving for the first time, she said from the minute she put her head in the water, she almost like took her breath away from this expansiveness. And the focus was a moment of really sudden expansiveness you had. If you suddenly get to the top of like a steep climb of a hill and you weren't expecting that, wide view, or Margaret put her head in the water and was this like the expansiveness of like, the in the Great Barrier Reef. And another one of mine was like watching, suddenly expectingly getting up this little tiny cove that we were walking, and the whole sky suddenly be filled with this beautiful firework display, that expansiveness of space around you. So that can really open you up, and it's a way of being mindful in the moment outside. And the other one we had was magnificence, being in your magnificence. But I've found a new word that I've heard recently for that, is in your own sovereignty, which is like that's kind of
queen of your own
personal
queendom.
your own personal power. It comes into much more of an internal sense rather than the magnificence being out. This is sovereignty.
Yeah.
It is
like
external and internal.
Yeah.
Is that? And then the third one was a moment of pause. So I love this when we experience this in class. So moments of pause can be between the inhale and the exhale. Moments of pause when people meditate can be thought. It's a moment of gap. Moments of pause in the movement. When we move, is there a moment where when the body moves direction, when you're going forwards and back? And I always remember Pam was a maths teacher. She was saying she loved that sense of, really something she teaches, that gravity, that when you go up. And there is always, no matter how quick the dance is, no matter how much there is a moment of pause to be found. And that's a really amazing life skill, finding the pause that, in life, between stimulus and then whether you react or respond. It's like
that's the sense of place. That is the gap.
That is the
There's
gap.
the word for that is called ilinctus. Ilincus.
Is it?
Yeah, it means the gap in between.
There you go, beautiful.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah,
I like
so that's
what
we're going
with.
So our fourth one was pause, and the third one was pause. The fourth one that we did connection, which remember at the beginning of the year we did connection, where we were sort of working with partners. Even when we're not touching, so this before all this, working with partners, hands, connection, sensing that connection in and out. So very, very powerful to be embodying those as sensations. So if you were to stand, what is that for you to now go off and walk around in your sovereignty? How would you just stand there? What is you holding in that? Where do you find that moment of pause? So I've been listening to a lot of things recently in my time off, and I heard one thing in terms of dance. Do you remember in our training we were taught that life is a dance. Like, what was it? Life is art. Life is a dance.
Life as art.
Life as
dance
art.
Through life.
That's it. Dance through life. Dancing through life. And I always remember that one of my stories was like slipping in Germany when we did our blue belt and my big sort of platform flip flops, and literally slipping. And rather than my body sort of jolting up into a fear response, it was like, oh, this movement's familiar, and the whole fall became this beautiful sort of like woo dance. But that's like a small. It's slowing down. That is embodiment. When everything goes, that's embodiment for something so fast to suddenly internally feel so slow. Is when you're embodied. But a dance. But I heard again. I was listening to somebody talking this week, and he was saying, and I thought this was brilliant. He was saying, in terms of when is movement, when is it a dance? And he said, imagine, he was talking, he said, imagine you sort of like, if you've got a beard and you're starting to pull out sort of like hairs on the beard, at which point is which hair means that you've not got a beard and you have got a beard. And I was like, that is brilliant.
It's like, just have the
one
what
hair. He's saying is like, at what point is the movement a movement and not a dance?
And I think it's always a dance.
And this is thinking, Peter Lovett, I think his name is, that I was speaking from. It's always a dance. That's what he said.
Always a dance.
And I think this is a great interview with him, and I am going to pinch this from him. So thank you so much, Peter Lovett, for actually sharing this. He was then saying in some restaurants or bars, they have places where it says, this is licensed to dance, or this is places no license for dancing. And he said, well, what happens in a place that's not licensed for dancing? If you get up and you walk between the tables, is it down? And you're having to dance between that. It's like life, and this is what the dance that we create here is. We talk about the movements we are getting those embodied so that you can go out and sense that you are life as art and dancing through life. It does shift. Just have a moment,
ease and comfort in your body, so that everything becomes much more of a creative process rather than it's more of a
it's finding that joy. Even we do the dances where it's like it's like or all those different ones of like, it doesn't necessarily need to be all this sort of, it could be like we do all of those, don't we? We do all of those, so it's not necessarily just sort of like
but it's important to laugh as well, isn't it? And that's
we all know about that. So go on,
we do.
Go on. Go on.
And that's going to be a big focus for the laughing yoga on a Wednesday evening, 6:00. And there's a few workshops knocking about as well. Have a look on the
tomorrow.
Oh God, don't tell me that. Tomorrow,
tomorrow at 10:00 in the morning. We still have 4 places left on that. Please make sure, because we've only got 4 places. It's only open for 10 people. Because it's we've got such a big, we need to be COVID secure. Yes, we do. So
no COVID, no.
We also are now offering that laughter. We've got it sorted. We are on Wednesday on Zoom. Yes, it's all Wednesday morning. 11:30. You can go online and book the laughter workshop. You can do it all from your own home. On Wednesday 11:30 live Zoom, which you did your training live.
I did all my training live on Zoom, so you can seriously have a right good old laugh, and we all know how much of a good laugh that we need.
What's your another one?
Okay. Well, how about going on a roller coaster?
Go on.
So you get in. You've got to do the movements as well. Right? Get in. Okay. Go in. Close the thing. Like looking all like, oh, it's good. What's gonna happen?
Go on.
And then it starts. It goes. And then it starts. You've got to really try and imagine yourself doing it as well.
Hundreds of these. You've got hundreds of these.
It's so good for you. You know how good it is. It feels so good. You're breathing deeply. You're exhaling deeply, getting rid of all the old nonsense and rubbish that's still knocking about in your lungs. You're breathing in fresh air. You're setting off all sorts of chemical actions in your brain.
Chemicals.
All your happy feelings are going, oh, yes, I had a laugh. That's great. Body feels it. Your brain feels it. All your T cells.
Your immune system. Do you know it's one of the most powerful
suppresses
immune boosters there actually is.
and it depresses cortisol as
yeah.
well, which is one of the things that causes stress and nastiness, anxiety and all that. It depresses that and it raises up all the good stuff. So it's really, really excellent. And it's great fun. And we're going to do some nice breathing, yoga breathing. We're going to do buzzy bee breath
and you will be doing some yoga within.
I'll be doing
some
yoga.
It is yoga.
Yes.
It is yoga as well. And you'll all be familiar with that because Joe always does her animal noises anyway, don't you? So you'll be familiar with laughing. That's not going to be anything different. It's just more laughing than you would do normally.
Well, this is what I thought. When I was there in the lockdown, even though we were carrying on doing all that classes and everything, I thought, do you know what I really miss is going out and have a good old laugh with people. So that's one of the things I thought, if I can, because it's something that is how I am. I mean, I'm always messing about and laughing. So it's just all a bit more than that.
Though. It's
deeply
therapeutic when it's like, and it is those times when you're
it's
really
a choice as well. It's a willingness.
It's a willingness.
It's not about trying to make life funny because it probably isn't. It's about finding the willingness to find a little inner smile and cultivate and use it as an expression.
Initially, and people can feel a bit awkward.
Your brain doesn't know.
Yeah.
Your brain, as soon as you this is the exercise, okay? Like who knows Ace Ventura? That smile. He does that, doesn't it?
Everyone loves a slinky.
So spread your smile like that. And then do the and a bit of rocking. So do that. And so as you do it, and then start to imagine what the hell you look like.
We can see those. Look.
We know we look daft.
Okay.
That's okay. We don't mind. And it is this willingness to put yourself in a place, it's like Heather was saying, the willingness to set your space and your intention to join in, whether it's coming into the studio or whether you're in your own home. It's that willingness and setting the intention, the willingness to laugh as well, the willingness to create the space for yourself.
I know some people have been saying, they feel quite self-conscious. It's like, and there's that feeling, ironically, the paradox is feeling quite silly about sort of like forcing your laughing. And, I know when I've taught that, sort of, in the dance, you're just laughing, you can see this awkwardness sometimes a little bit. And then people say, as they get used to, it comes, and then you really allow the freedom. And then once, really good, deep belly laugh, once it gets past and it gets infectious. We all know people with like infectious laughs.
I've got hundreds of different laughs that we can try out as well till we find something that like tickles your fancy. Gives you a good old belly chuckle. And and if it is about that. It's just about having fun, enjoying, willingness, creating space. And if you're doing it at home, obviously you can get your kids and partner and whoever involved as well, because you can have great fun doing silly exercises together as well, which is nice. And it's part of that taking care of ourselves situation with all the stress that's around in the world. And that's it's the laughter. And then with my yoga as well, I'm doing a neck and shoulders release.
So what day
on
is
a
that
Saturday
on?
Morning that's going to be, so that's 11:15 on a Saturday morning. Neck and shoulders.
And then what have you got on Wednesday?
And then Wednesday morning, I've got a lovely morning immune boosting routine. It's going to be so delicious and gorgeous and wake you up gently and stretch you and squeeze you and twist you and make you feel wonderful. And really working in yoga and in a lot of different types of exercise, but specifically in yoga, there's a lot of squeezing and releasing of muscle groups. And a lot of the traditional yoga exercises are related towards getting your digestion moving, getting all of your system to move, and so that you can, I may use this word at this time of the day, excrete properly, so that you can breathe properly and then exhale and then excrete toxins.
It's amazing how many toxins you actually breathe out.
70%, up to 70% in your breath. So, so that also relates to the big out breaths in your yoga, we're going to be doing neck and shoulders, and we're going to be doing this immune boosting. And so it's going to be such a nice one that if you're coming into the studio, it will be gorgeous. And if you then wanted to do it every single day by putting it back on catch up and do it in the morning,
that's for our members, privileged
for
members when they've got unlimited access.
Exactly. Well. You know who you are. Not many people got unlimited access.
Yeah, if you're an annual member, you get unlimited access to all the classes, don't you?
As many times as you want.
But if you wanted to join us online, what we do have is the three sessions a week for 6 weeks, which is a Monday night, a Wednesday morning, and a Saturday morning, and for that you get one of each. So you get on the Wednesday morning you get Joe's immune booster, and on the Saturday morning you get Joe's dreams
dancing,
and then on the Monday evening you get my Pilates, which is this time on the Monday night course on the essentials. This is one not to miss because I've really pulled the stops out for this one. We've got in 6 weeks we've got 6-week course, and each week is a different focus. So week 1 we've got focus on your breath, which is what we've just been talking about. So lots of really to go into a lot of depth with that. Week 2 is quadrants, which is quadrants. I talk about sort of like the abdominal core and how we work in terms of this opposite left and right, the smile line over the rainbow, understanding that cross counterbalance and how your core basically supports the limbs moving away, so the arms and legs moving away from the center. That's week 2. Week 3 we've got hips. So again, it's moving away from the center. Really important to get your hips sort of really flexible. Good in terms of sciatica, releasing that tension. Good for supporting your low back. Goes along with your quadrants. That's why I put it there. Week 4, we've got knees and feet. So strengthen, really a good one for people. Feet, the core, the base, the foundation. 9 points to sense on your feet in terms of understanding that push through. Are you a pusher or a puller in your feet when you walk? So that's week. So number 5, shoulders. Shoulders, I'm going to go back to what we talked about a couple of years ago now. Go Gadget arms. Who remembers Go Gadget arms? That actually your arms, we're going to imagine your arms starts from, if you find this little tiny hollow here in the center of your throat, and then where your collarbone begins, that is the beginning of your arm. So your arm actually, it's a free joint. It floats. Your shoulder joint floats on top. It is into, if I need to get Eric really, your shoulder doesn't fasten into your rib cage.
Very light.
It floats over the top from your shoulder blade. So your shoulder compromises of your collarbone, your upper arm, and your shoulder blade, your scapula. And it's that literally, it floats, which is, I need to take some of these off maybe to explain. So if you think about that, the range that your arm has to go up, down, forwards and back, because your whole shoulder girdle moves around the rib cage. And once you start to understand that anatomy of how that movement happens in the spiral, this is how we release all this tension in your neck. So we're both on neck and shoulders. And release in today's, take it back 10-15 years ago, and a lot of it was mainly low back. Now with a lot of more sitting and upper desk work, we're seeing a lot more, as we did the other talk, in terms of neck position, head position, and this freedom of your shoulders here. So that is week 5, and then week 6 is putting it all together. So that's my Monday and Thursday morning actually, but the Monday evening class has all those 6 ones. So it's a really amazing course. So if you're thinking about you can't make it in the studio, get that online, and that's a real sort of like once in a one-off is that one, to be able to sort of revisit those. So I'd highly recommend that.
Absolutely.
So, and then my Tuesday mornings, I've even took the name Pilates out of there now. We're on Soma Spirals. Okay. It's been evolving. Soma Spirals. It's been evolving for such a long time. I did actually talk about in the description of how to move effortless from the floor to standing. But I think in that description, people have misinterpreted that as to be, it is simple. And it is about mobility, and it is about, being able to get down and up from the floor. But it is there no matter what fitness level you're at. And if you find getting down to the floor and up really easy, this is still for you, because this is about a whole new way of moving in spirals. And efficient movement anywhere in the universe
Goes
moves in
spirals.
spirals. Everything spirals, including, and the most efficient way to stretch isn't in a straight line. It's learning where the spiral is in the joint, where the spiral is in the forearm. The spiral is even in your lower leg. As you take a step, the foot will step in and spiral this way, as the lower leg will spiral that way, and the upper. So when you walk, it's in really slow motion, your leg would actually be doing it. It goes, and usually the problem is because people do it the opposite way around. The knees drop in as they step and then go out rather than out and in. Anyway, it's just diverging a little bit. But the whole Soma Spirals on Tuesday morning is such a beautiful room, and we put some new things in there.
Learning new ways of moving your body so that you can get up and down from the floor encompasses just about every single movement that you need to move.
Yes.
So, and as soon as a person can't easily get up and down from the floor, then it compromises so many things and causes a real problem of confidence.
Yeah.
A lot of confidence that people say to me, oh, I can't do that because I can't get back up again. Can't get down. If I do get down, I'm going to need a crane.
Yeah.
And
the thing is
whereas we can show you how to do it.
It creeps up.
Yeah.
It creeps up, does that? But you're not being able to get down on the floor creeps up. Because it then gets to the point of, you know, like before you know it, like you said, that happens, and then people can't get down. And then unfortunately, even if you've got those beginnings of apprehension, there then becomes the fear of falling.
Yeah.
And yes, nobody likes to fall. But if you then know that you can't get back up, and I've seen this over decades of working in this sort of in this industry, that this is what actually happens. You know, the minute people have that fear of flight, and there's just that little bit more uptightness on surfaces that they're not quite sure about, and the irony of that is you're much more likely then to fall because you've been holding yourself, you know, tight. So
and
it becomes this loop.
Means that your walk is not going to be as relaxed and good, useful for you. Your body's not moving in the right way. Like, so you're talking here about learning to get up and get down.
And you know, we talked about me slipping on the floor in Germany before. I was on the blue belt, I said I slipped on the floor, and it was more like a dance. When you become really embodied and you've taken yourself all through all these movement patterns, exploring, and you're really in those, that's when slow motion happens. So you may not be able to stop yourself having a fall, but then if it happens in slow motion, there becomes this instinctive reaction that the body already knows how you can go down with less damage. And that's the crucial thing. And I know that for a fact because I've been teaching this for years, and I've had feedback come back to me, people saying, I fell over, and it was like they're actually pleased. They go, I fell over, but
it was fine.
It was fine. It was all went in slow motion, and I managed to do this funky move. And it really, and that's what Soma Spirals. And it's not about can you just get down and up. It's about the floor is one of the most amazing. The ground is one of the most amazing tools. We talk about equipment that people have.
It's your ability to push away from it, to move into it, to use the floor.
And it is a real sign of how much you can open your hips. So can you just sit comfortably? They say about, you know, being able to gauge your age. It's not can you just get up and down the floor. It's how comfortably can you actually sit and stay on the floor. I remember when I went to India, that's over 20 years ago, I read up a lot before I was going about the history of India. And when the British were going into India, and the Indians said, why do these people have, like, you know, chairs? Do they have stiff legs? What's wrong with the legs? And it's like, actually, it's actually the other way around. The reason why we have stiff legs is because of the chair, not because we have it. You know, it's the other. We got it all the wrong way around. And so it's really.
Could you imagine with those great big dresses, like you'd have sat down, wouldn't you? And then the dress would have come up like that. You'd have been you know, like Victorian dress, like no.
So getting down, using the ground as a tool, it's like, you know, you can move around and find, you know, so much. And this is what the skills teach you of everything we do. And this is what I'll be doing on my Tuesday dance as well, building on from the Soma Spirals and the floor work, is the dance, because there were two or three people who were new to that way of moving and said, can we do more of that in the dance? I was like, oh yes, definitely. A lot of it is dance based, and there's a lot of which, because dancers are taught how for their performance of how to effortlessly you know, move from down and up. It's a very a lot of contemporary dance. It is very much organic of teaching them how to relate to the ground. How do you relate to that? And it's a beautiful way to have a conversation with. It's this, I have a real passion with it. It's a really beautiful way to relate and actually explore yourself, how much movement, how much opening, how much strength you've got. So that's I'll get carried away with that.
What
That's
about muddy ground? How do you relate to muddy ground? That's what I want to know.
Well, I've been there in wellies and Jess bicycles. I feel like I'm up and down.
Trotting.
Oh yeah, high speed. We did that. It was like keep
high
up
speed
speed
trotting. Yeah, I remember that.
So yes, that's right. And then so I think we've gone through all of them. Oh, but
That's what I'm talking about. Mud.
That's what I'm mud. I missed your cue there. I missed your cue. She was trying to tempt me mud. We haven't been in any mud yet. Well, we have. I've been down in 7 hours of pouring down rain. But Nordic walks, Embody Walks, as you'll have seen, it is there on the timetable now. If you haven't seen already, there are 6 places only on each particular every session. It's happening on Wednesdays at 11:30.
I'm practicing my walk.
I put it at 11:30 so that, you know, people felt like they'd done yours and then they could come up, but maybe. So 11:30 on a Wednesday and a Friday at 9:45. Only 6 places available because polls, it is on the website now. If you are not an annual member, the way you can access the walks is buy yourself a fast pass. So we have Fast Pass 4 and a Fast Pass 10. Anybody can buy a Fast Pass 4 and a Fast Pass 10. You have to make yourself a member on the website so that we've got all your details in there, and then we've got you for track and trace. You then reserve which sessions you want to do, but get yourself a Fast Pass 4. What that Fast Pass 4 will mean is you can do anything at all. And if you want to do the aerial yoga as well, you do. Which
I promise you do.
So, if you want to do the aerial yoga, you know, you see them in the hammocks. We've all seen those. It's like swinging. They are the deeper stretch. I missed that. I didn't do as much. I've not done as much. You know, really sort of like hanging upside down. It's like, you know, lengthening out. So I've really felt that.
Done enough hanging upside down.
So it's the thing. It's the thing that's
actually a bat.
I love.
Sleeps at night, hangs up inside the cupboard like that.
I love that. I do really like that.
And that's why I said it.
But having said all that, that's not me that's teaching that. That's Jess. Jess will be here tomorrow doing an aerial fundamentals. Yay. 12 while 2. So you could go. So straight after we have places left on that. Straight after 12 while 2, the aerial fundamentals. Yes. Jess is coming to do your laughter as well.
And then she can swing and laugh.
And then she does. She does do laughing upside down. We all do the classes with the laughing. So you could come and then laugh upside down if you want. Aerial fundamentals 12 or 2 with Jess, and then her classes are still on. You can book hers there. So if you then get a Fast Pass 4 or a Fast Pass 10, you can then also do our aerial, and you can do all of my classes, all of Joe's classes, all of them. You can book whichever ones you want with your Fast Pass 4 or your Fast Pass 10. That's up there, and all those classes are there to reserve on the website. So my Embody Walks. You may have seen we're out this afternoon doing another test run. I've already had sort of the team doing this. Some of you may have seen the video we did yesterday. I can't believe it. For Ruth sent me back feedback, which I didn't know. I felt so touched. Ruth did not tell me that she can't walk for more than an hour without her upper back getting really, really tight. So she didn't let me know. So I am so moved that, like, you know, the team come out to support me. It's like, Heather's doing walking. Like, oh, here we go. It's like didn't let me know that she had sort of like all her upper back. It's like, and we walked. We were out for 90 minutes, and she sent me the most amazing testimonial afterwards, saying that due to the poles and the technique, because they are not trekking poles. We're not just planting them in front. There's a whole technique which does take quite a bit of time that we will be instructing on, which will I'll instruct at the beginning. So, and then it will be during all the way through the walk. So the walks will be shorter initially because there is quite a bit to do with technique. Once you get this, what's explained to people is it uses 90% of your skeletal muscle. So it uses apparently 45 was it so many more, 45% more calories than running? I'm not sure, but if you are really power walking, which you can, we have gear 1, gear 2, gear 3, and gear 4. Oh, it's hot. Okay. So if you have gear 4, yeah, we have those gears. It is a real technique. But Ruth said that she came back and she contacted Beryl, who is our sort of resident, just say physio really as well. We have a few physios in class. Her upper back was not aching at all. She normally has to get back and go on a roller. She had no pain in her upper back after doing sort of much longer walk.
She said it was a game changer for her walking.
It was a game changer. Jess has said it was a game changer. Jess said she misses the pole. She said in terms of posturally, it does everything we talk about at the studio. Posture, there's so much awareness of what goes on in your posture. It's in terms of,
you'll be getting up and down, you'll be dancing, you'll be walking, you'll be yogaing, you'll be laughing.
So book those on. So I'm really looking for. So I've already noticed people have spotted that I've put that on late last night. I know who your night birds are because I put it on late last night and the phone was immediately going bing, bing, bing. People booking that, so please get enough of the walks. And then just a final one is, yes, my other classes that were on there are all there again this time. So that our Thursday night 6 p.m. class, which all guys have been working really, really hard at. I know it's a challenging class, is my Thursday 6 class. For course, if you fancy something with a bit more of a strong challenge for sort of a lot of ankles, knees, thighs, all into your glutes, core, and they've been going on. So that's a good class. I think there's only two or three places left on that. If you want, that's a good class. So, and I think that's about us. We just wanted to reassure everybody. In terms of that, we are tier 3, but gyms are allowed to open. I want to just recap again that the space is 3,000 square foot. That we are not a normal gym that has people in and out all the time. We have a maximum of 3 classes a day, if that. The track and trace, because you have to pre-book. We know the classes are small. After every class we clean. We're now spraying all the lockers down with an anti.
Is like COVID safe. Yeah. So when you come here, when you come into this space, it's going to be as relaxing and calming and gorgeous as it ever was. So we will make sure the space here is fabulous for you. And then if you're doing it at home, you have to take a little bit of that fabulousness and bring it into your environment so that you can enjoy it at home as well.
Yeah. Yes. So it's all creating space. So so with willingness. With willingness, you can feel it. It's a lovely. If you just sit with it for a moment, there's a really different sensation I find goes on with you. A willingness to be kind to yourself, a willingness to give yourself space. And then what's your intention? So your intention is creating that space. Your intention is, what are you going to give for yourself? Your intention is, what is that? Your dreams, and then what are you going to create today, right now, and for your future
self. Yeah, we said that together.
Yeah,
your future self.
So it's casting.
It is.
So cast now.
Casting.
So we'd love to have you join us, whether that is here in the studio, which people describe as lovely sanctuary. I did have somebody new come in to have a look the other day, and it's always that response of like, wow, you wouldn't think this was here. It's like a little go into a TARDIS and then it goes, poof. This big space. It is a sanctuary for people, and thank you so much, everybody, for all the support that we've had this year as well.
Yeah.
So it's been lovely. It has been fantastic,
really
and we're really looking forward to seeing you on this course.
We are.
So willingness, set your intention, create your space. Willingness.
Come and play.
Bye.
Talk to you soon.
See you all soon.
Bye.